Welcome back to the Most News in the Morning. Just before the break, we ran part of Christian Amanpour's documentary, Generation Islam, and you witnessed firsthand the struggle for the young boys in Afghanistan with few paths to choose from, sometimes ending up in schools or madrasas that are known to feed the Taliban and other extremist groups. So how can these children be guided down a more nonviolent and productive path? Joining me now from Chicago is Eboo Patel, Executive Director of the Interfaith Youth Corps. Thanks so much for being with us. You had a chance to see Christian's documentary as well and take part in it. As we look at the challenge, especially in Afghanistan, where the median age of people is 17 years old, unemployment is at 40% or higher, what are specifically the challenges, especially for Muslim youth in Afghanistan, to find a way to be productive, to earn a living, and to be a contributing member of society?
Right. Well, Karen, I think the first challenge is how we view these young people. They could become medical doctors or they could become suicide bombers. And the road that they take has everything to do with the education that they get, the mentoring that they get, which is why organizations like mine, the Interfaith Youth Corps, are working all over the world to make sure that young people view their religious identity as something that gives them hope and something that inspires them to lead a productive and positive life.
You talk about education as being key, and we've seen that time and time again. I mean, in the United States, it's the same thing. If you, are educated and you can go on to higher education, your chances of getting a good-paying job, obviously, are much higher. Your chances of being hit by a recession or an economic downturn much lower. In Afghanistan, in particular, the challenge with education not only is the availability of these schools, but also what's being taught there.
That's exactly right. You know, the Taliban is not Islam. Let's be very clear about this. The Taliban is not religion. The Taliban is a sickness, and that sickness infects the parts of society that are particularly weak. In areas where there is no school, the Taliban sets up a school. So it has the only free lunch program, it has the only health clinic, it has the only educational institution, and families are A, effectively forced to send their kids there, and B, feel like they have no alternative. But we can do something about that. The Afghan government, in partnership with the international community, with NGOs, with the United States of America, can build schools in those areas. We can look at those young people as potential scientists, as potential poets. We can build the institutions that help them get on that positive path.
And it's not just Afghanistan. I mean, as you look at the larger issues in that region of the world, in Pakistan, for example, they say that, it's economics, like you said, that factor into where these kids go to school. If they enroll their kid in a madrasa, they get free room, free board, they get clothing. And this is, of course, attractive for impoverished families. At the same time, what they're learning there isn't necessarily giving them life skills to move on and get jobs. So how do you get into that? How do you penetrate that and make a change?
Right. Well, as I was saying earlier, I think that this is a problem that can be solved. If the Taliban can set up a school in a remote region that's teaching hate, the responsible dimensions of the international community and the Afghan government can set up a school in that region that's teaching hope. We have to just care about this issue more than the Taliban does. We can't forfeit a generation of young people in this region to the Taliban. And I believe that that begins with us believing in these young people and making the commitment to invest in their future. And their future and our future are linked.
Eboo Patel for us this morning. Thank you so much. And by the way, we want to let people know that he's put together a list of recommendations about engaging Muslim communities for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing. And you can check it out at cnn.com/amfix. A lot of very interesting things going on there. Also, be sure to watch Generation Islam with Christian Amanpour. It's tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, here on CNN. John?
Well, it was 40 years.